Good afternoon. Welcome to the Blockchain Asia show. I'm Michelle Wonderland. I'm here with Gustavo Liu.
Hi. And this afternoon today, actually. Normally we do a evening recording. It's good.
It's good.
Still sunny
The
outside.
lighting is a bit of a, hang on. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
And we have with our guest, we have Vladimir Tomko, who's here, who is part of the Block show this week and first time in Asia, first time in Singapore.
Yeah, exactly. Hello,
I
everyone.
hunted him down, actually, because I was passing by some of the booths, and his booth was the most colorful and biggest on the actual exhibition hall.
He totally did. He sent us a photo on our WhatsApp group, and so we could all see it.
Yeah, it was like very different from all the other booths because we were like fun, a lot of like
They
characters.
were boring.
Yeah, and we had a TV set showing like some cartoons, so we've attracted a lot of traffic. And he actually got me like in the first 30 minutes like of the blog show. Yeah.
Wow.
Like bam, gotcha.
I went really early, and then I was like looking at it, right? And I saw like, isn't this kind of like CryptoKitties, but not like CryptoKitties? And I went up to him, was like, I was talking to one of his colleagues, was it? And they were like, no, we are cooler. And I was like, I gotta find out more what it is about. And so the great thing about it is that so far, this is what, our 10th episode or something, and we haven't had anybody from the gaming industry.
Well, this is what really excites me because, we have we're so lucky in Singapore, we have a lot of guests who come on and talk about their coins and their coin offerings and tokenology.
The trust and the identification.
Yeah, but that is not my, my excitement about blockchain. My excitement about blockchain is the technology and the practical applications. And I come from a media background and a content background. And so gamification and gaming is one thing that's really exciting for me. So I'm really excited to hear more about, what you're in town for, how you're doing, what's going on.
And you've been a gamer.
Yeah, I've been a gamer since childhood, and like I've been developing games and like doing stuff related to games for the last 14 years. So yeah, I'm big into the gaming space.
Has it always been in Latvia, or is it around the sort of?
It was in Latvia.
Eastern?
It was in Russia, and like right now we're based in Latvia, the majority of the team, and we have a small team in St. Petersburg in Russia as well. And we're trying to get global, like really. Maybe hopefully someday we'll open up an office here in Singapore.
It's a good place to start a business.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
in Asia, it's a great hub.
I think the sort of the Russia, Latvia, the sort of Eastern Europe region, blockchain has really taken off. Just crypto space, right? A lot of the whales kind of come from that region, and developers. Every time I get a request for like blockchain development, a lot of them come from the Eastern Europe side.
Yeah, I agree. I believe they just like noticed the space growing bigger earlier than ours and decided to jump in like globally, everybody. And because ex-Soviet countries and Russia has a lot of like strong technical universities, a lot of programmers, then it is like very native that people are like keen on such things, and it is easier for them to like try something new.
Can you tell us a little bit about Latvia and how the blockchain space is? How did it evolve? I mean,
in Latvia, blockchain space isn't like very big because Latvia itself is a small country. There are like, I believe, 5-7 companies that do blockchain related stuff. But Latvia was like pretty prominent in terms of browser gaming back in the days. And basically when CryptoKitties were released like a year ago, it was essentially a browser game. So like a lot of people had some expertise in this, and plus they were doing like blockchain, so they jumped into the space. So this is how it happened. If it would be like something completely different, like say a game on Unity, then there are like only 2 companies in Latvia that do so. So it wouldn't be happening, but like it did, and I'm here.
I can see why though, because back then when I was working finance and a lot of the corporate structures, right, the Eastern Europe side, there weren't that many sort of slightly more sort of friendly for international sort of tax structures. And I think Latvia was one of those countries where it took a lot of Middle Eastern customers, a lot of Eastern European customers it's sort of been, is it my perception of Latvia back then in the finance was seen them more as a neutral territory.
Yeah, it was. It basically was called as like Switzerland of Baltics. It attracted a lot of capital. There were like banks that worked exclusively with non-residents, and a lot of like fintech startups also developed around that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and as I recall, the tax structure was also like very positive for that. But like next year, from 2019, we're changing that a little bit. There will be like more harsher situations, but like it is still like has a lot of fintech companies.
I see a lot of pattern forming, especially countries that's been very friendly with tax structures have sort of become the ecosystem players for blockchain. It's sort of like the brewing hub. And Latvia, I guess, is sort of coming towards that way. Estonia is another region, right?
Yeah, and we're like trying to follow Estonia in terms of like tax structures because they're very innovative and like they have government programs that help to like develop different fintech stuff and so on. And their tax structure is very attractive, like for our government. So basically, we're trying to go to their structure, and it is like if you're earning a lot, you're like paying more. In Latvia, it was like a fixed tax before that. So, and we had like this type of company called like micro company, and it has like a lower tax, but you weren't able to like hire a lot of people there. But it was used basically to optimize taxes. So bigger companies created a lot of those micro companies, and now they're like shutting it down. And Latvia is becoming like a lot more expensive.
So all the way from Latvia to Singapore, and this is your first trip to Singapore.
Yeah. Not only to Singapore, but like to the Far East, like to Asia at all. I've never been to China, to Japan, to Korea. And I really like Singapore. It is very beautiful, very clean, a lot of green trees. The weather is nice, people are nice, everybody speaks English. That was like, I didn't like know this could be happening here in Asia because I heard a lot of stories like about China that nobody understands English and everybody here speaks English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Michelle, you must see a lot of that as well, like working in the entertainment industry. A lot of people coming to Asia.
Well, that was so my backstory is that I came to Asia about 12 years ago and first went to Hong Kong. And when we moved to Singapore, not too long after that, I remember the first work trips that I took to Singapore, and it was like, wow, you know, it's like America. I grew up in California, and there are parts of California that Singapore reminds me a lot of. And I was like, wow, it's just like.
You mean the weather?
The weather, yeah.
Because California has perfect weather.
I would add that it more reminds me like of England, of London, because of your street namings. Everything is English. Queen Street, Victoria Street,
Smith Street. The British colonies, and we used to be. We are part of the Commonwealth after all.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think it's really also really cool that now Singapore attracts these large events, especially for technology and innovation. And these this past week there were a few really big events, which you're here for one of them. And you know, that's the one thing that it's like, you know, now we get this chance to show off our city. You know, being a really good and like verdant environment for developers, for people in the space coming from all parts of the world. You know, in Eastern Europe, you know, there are so many talented developers, so many people working in the space that we're really lucky that even this past week that we've had a couple of good guests that we normally wouldn't get to Singapore, and it was one of their first times.
A
your
lot
first
of them
time,
came here for the first time.
Yeah.
So blockchain and gaming, you brought us an article.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, let's do that.
Yeah. So you showed us an article on TechCrunch saying that there's a gaming gets a boost with mythical games for 16 million Series A.
Yeah.
So what do you want to give us a bit of background on this?
Yeah, sure. Like actually today is like a year and 2 days when the crypto gaming market basically was born. It was created by Axiom-Azan, a Canadian company that brought us Crypto Cuties, and they were the first like top grossing product. They've earned like I believe around $2 million by that time till February. And a lot of companies that weren't into gaming but were into blockchain, especially after the ICO space, decided, wow, this is the new space, we need to jump in to try to create something. And they've created like hundreds of products, but they didn't have experience in gaming. Majority of them failed. So
why do you think they failed?
well, there are many factors actually. First of all, they've all copied CryptoKitties because CryptoKitties smart contracts were in open access. You could basically grab those, like rewrite a little bit, put on different graphics. Like there were like crypto tulips, crypto alpacas, dogs, like
Crypto zombies.
crypto zombies is okay because like it's a separate brand, but there were like even crypto hookers, crypto manga, crypto everything.
I love it.
Yeah, and they didn't even crypto TDs, but it was like a joke basically.
Oh.
So you could breed those, and you receive new of a different kind of different color. The thing is that like they didn't get traction, they didn't get any users, and basically people were still playing CryptoKitties and other games of a better quality. But after like the initial start of CryptoKitties, the market was very bullish, as you remember. So all the prices of Bitcoin or Ethereum were very expensive, and everybody that were playing those games, they weren't like real players. They basically were traders that were addressing those crypto games as a small lifespan exchanges where they can pump and dump and then like leave the game with money. So they were monitoring the market, jumping in, and this is how it all started. But eventually majority of the poor quality games, they just died out, and better gaming experiences started to appear. They were still very, very simple comparing to the like regular entertainment games like on PC, on consoles, but these games allowed people to earn money, and this was like something completely new, something very interesting, and you actually had like a true ownership of the asset that you bought in these games. They really belong to you, because like in regular games like in World of Warcraft, when you sign the
I
EOLA,
was gonna say that. It's
yeah,
like,
you rent these assets. They don't belong to you. Developer can ban you, can take away everything if you like somewhere break the rules. But like here, everything
so
is
it's like a centralized control everything, and in CryptoKitties instance, it's like more decentralized. Everybody could make their own decisions. Is that what you're saying?
in some, yeah, to some degree it is decentralized. But the thing is that like you own stuff. You can do whatever you own. Like if you own a notebook, you can gift it to somebody. You can sell it. Same here. Developer can't enforce you to do basically anything with your stuff because it's yours.
It's on the internet.
Yeah, the same. And basically, this is like a completely new paradigm in gaming, because there is no such thing as shadow market, as black market in crypto games. Every market, like even smallest
It's
one,
transparent. Yeah.
Right.
it is not just transparent, it's part of your market. And when you create the game, you need to think about that you don't control the market. It's an open market relationships between developers and players. And that's why like people continue to play those primitive games with very, very like lightweight graphics without animations, basically like user interfaces with different pictures at the very beginning. So, and like at the beginning, a lot of the giants of the gaming space, like they didn't even look here. So it was a small like sandbox for players who did blockchain, who tried to like earn money. Even some like minor Ponzi schemes try to appear at the beginning of the year, but like now everything is becoming different. So CryptoKitties was the company that created the market, and during this year they've attracted $27 million already. The first round was, I believe, somewhere in May or like in April, and the last one was on the 1st of November, like this month. And in CryptoKitties, the latest like investors is A16Z as
Oh wow.
yeah, it's Samsung Next.
Horowitz, right? Understand.
Exactly.
Horowitz,
Yeah. So now they are like looking into this space, and it makes it like very lucrative to start like business here right now, especially if you have experience in gaming and in blockchain. And still, CryptoKitties are like the pioneers. They never did games before. They're just like the first success story. And it's okay when investors invest into people who create the market. But like 2 weeks ago, these mythical games were brought up, and they are the company consists of ex-developers of Blizzard Entertainment, of Niantic, it's like Pokemon Go, of Codemasters, and like Activision. employees.
Would you say they all kind of came together and formed this? Or was
Yeah, but the thing is that like they are from the original gaming. They are like the behemoths, the giants of the gaming industry. They created a lot of super high quality products, and now they're doing this a little bit differently than like normal crypto games at the moment, but they are like jumping into the space. And this is huge because basically it means that this space is becoming acknowledged by bigger players. It will mean like bigger investments, not from the crypto space at all.
Institutional money is gonna start coming. You're talking about the entertaining money, right? The movie making money. I mean, I'm seeing names like Marvel here. We talk Call of Duty, right? Skylanders. These are names that essentially it's just a line between gaming and actual movies, entertainment. If you look at how movies have evolved over the years, it went from comical, like the mangas and all the sort of reading prints, all the way to making Spider-Man, Thor, Avengers, and this is sort of like merging into blockchain now.
Yeah, and the thing is that like gaming basically industry is already earning like yearly more money than cinema industry globally. This year it is predicted that the global revenue will be around $137 billion from the games alone, and they've surpassed the movie industry, if I recall correctly, in late 2015, maybe at the beginning of 2016. But the thing is, they are acknowledging the space, and it's good that you brought up the movie. Have you all watched the latest, I believe, Steven Spielberg's movie, Ready Player One?
No.
The thing is, like, it's based on a book, but in a movie showed that in a near future there is like a super big game, virtual reality game, that everybody plays on the continent, and people who earn money in that game, virtual currency, can become like really, really rich in the real world because everybody plays it. It has demand, and you can sell assets. And this is what eventually blockchain plus VR technology is like heading towards to.
Exactly.
At some point, there will be like workspaces for everybody who loves playing games, and not just like you go to work, you hard work. No, you just like receive fun. You earn some like in-game currency, and because the demand is high, you're able to sell it. And this is completely new. Like we never seen something like that before. There were like black markets in different games like EverQuest, like World of Warcraft, especially here in Asia, in China. A lot of people like hired 60 different like employees that were farming gold every day, and they try to sell it on black market. But Blizzard prohibits that. They've banned such people, and like those like entrepreneurs lost revenue because it was like black market stuff, and here it is not. So it's basically a new market in a market, and
that's
it
the
is wonderful.
interesting thing because you've got that open market that you talked about, right? And oftentimes when the argument is that when the market is not open, when there are certain privileges, that is where you allow the black market to sort of start to sort of spur out of that.
And here's where blockchain seamlessly, makes things transparent. Makes
but like the transparency in blockchain actually, it is there, but you can avoid that because even like Bitcoin, for example, the alma mater of all like cryptocurrencies, at the moment it even if you have like one address where you receive funds, you can like make unlimited amounts of different addresses based on the like hash code of your address, and you won't be able to trace that like this money are coming exactly to you. So there is a lot of privacy in blockchain, and it is okay, it is good, but it is definitely like more transparent than normal systems. For example, like the games appeared, like the crypto games, and within 2 months, resources like State of the Dapps, like Dapprater appeared, and they were actually doing like big statistical analysis based on the transactions of smart contracts because this information was open. And you as a like developer that wants to develop the game have an insight into market like on like hourly basis. You can check the game and see how well does it go, like how many money do they have, how many users. Then you can trace this like via charts and understand, hey, probably they did a marketing campaign here, let's Google it. And you see that, yeah, so you can piece all this thing together. And this is very important because other markets, they didn't start like that. For example, in native mobile applications, like there are tools like App Annie, but you have to like pay a subscription, and the data there is sometimes like approximized. Here, everything is like clear from the very beginning, but it still has issues. There is like some measurement of deceive there. You could like try to
and how many people really do go and check, right?
a lot actually, especially players, because you see right now the audience that play blockchain games are not regular players. Those are basically traders.
Yeah.
And like our game, it supports very cute animals that are like better suited for women, and we only have 2% of women playing the game. The majority of them are like male, 35 plus.
Yeah.
And they play the game because like it is fun for them and they can make money. So it doesn't like mean that you need to create super interesting game at this point. If you make like a game which has a demand and people can earn money by like trading, then they will play it. So
what do you think is the draw factor? Is it the interesting, the game, the how interesting it is, or is it the fact that you can make more money and how much money you can make out of it? Like or is it a combination of two? Like what would be the winning? Because you named quite a number, like crypto, titties, crypto hooker, that. Why did they not survive, and what do you think would
okay,
have been
so
the failure?
there are two questions, and I'll answer all of them. First of all is like let's start with the last one. The thing is that they didn't survive because they thought that the hype is like so big that they don't have to do PR and marketing. So like people would go there. They didn't make their market attractive. So those resources like DappRadar, they show the stats, like how many transactions, how many revenue do you make, and actually players watch them, not developers, but they try to track which game is better to make money. And those games were in those DappRadars like at the bottom positions. So people already saw that they don't allow making money. Nobody is playing them. Then why bother? And they didn't get audience because they didn't like do user acquisition, didn't buy traffic, and so on. So they've just like spent a lot of time, not a lot of like 2 months, but like creating a game that's nobody interested in.
Yeah.
And
they raise funds as well on the back of that to create those games.
I don't know about them. I think they didn't because when CryptoKitties were released, you had to act very, very, very rapidly.
Yeah.
Like you should start developing your game like a week after it was created. And if you want to raise funds, you need to go to people, to funds, to present them business ideas and so on. You didn't have time for that. So majority of them didn't have like investments. Some of them did, like we did, for example.
So was it more like open sourced or was it like?
It was because the smart contracts were like in an open access. They weren't obfuscated, so you could say it was open source. But
they just kind of took it and
they've copied it. And even if you like looked at their smart contracts, you can even see the CryptoKitties commands left there. Basically,
so
like
it's just different graphics.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And not so many like new mechanics. But it was like in January, in February, and March. Now the space is completely different. Such games don't appear anymore. The ones that are created by developers right now are more complex, still pretty primitive, but like there are a lot of like fighting mechanics, some collective gameplay mechanics, items, and so on. So your assets are becoming more and more personal. In CryptoKitties, basically the only personal thing you could do is like rename your kitty.
Okay.
Right now you can like, well, in our game you can even like send us the photos and we will create a cutie like
I thought you
by
can,
the image.
You can breed them.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
breed them like in all of the games right now. You can do something similar like breeding or creating something out of something. But like we try to be as personal to people as possible. So if they want, they can basically make a family of their own family members. Like
So it almost sounds like you're saying that the winning formula would be this customizable gamification aspect to it, and rather than so the players aren't really looking for making more money.
This is the first part of the question that I want to answer.
Yeah.
The thing is that when it all started, players only wanted to make money, and there weren't any educational experience in the gaming space that allowed them to understand that making money is one part. This is very good, but making social ties, connection to the community and receiving fun, having fun is another. We were one of the first games that brought that to the market. We've created more in-depth experiences, and people dig into that. So they like that they have friends, they have enemies, they have things to do. They basically build some kind of real estate in terms of
community.
And this is very important actually. And right now what we see is that those pure traders are starting to become players, and this is inertial process. It takes time, and there should be more and more real gaming experience into this crypto gaming space that will convert all the audience into real players. We still have the majority of audience that are just purely traders and they care about making money, but 12 months back there were only these people, and right now they're 70% of these people
evolved.
Yeah, it is. And what we do to make it happen is basically we don't create the game ourselves. We propagate the community-driven development, and we ask our players what they want to see in game. How do you want this function to be realized? And they vote. They tell us they want it this way and this way. And if idea is healthy, we bring it into the game. We make a lot of references to the players, and they like it very much because they're not just playing game, making money. They're creating it with us. And I think this is that because all the crypto space is built around communities. The blockchain is about communities, and you need to save this core idea and bring it to the gaming as well. And it works for us. We don't have a very big community, around 900 people in Telegram, but they are very passionate. They are engaged, and they like what they are doing together with us.
Well, that's one thing that I'm looking at. I was looking at your leaderboard, and it's really interesting because some of the in some of the areas in which you have the same people on the top 3 slots on the leaderboard, so you can see that people are really passionate about it.
Yeah.
And going back to what you were saying about how because they're so cute, and I can imagine the more you get into it, the more different types of variations that you can make on your cutie for Blockchain Cuties. And just looking at this, and you said that they're they would appeal to a female audience, over 35, which I find that is really interesting coming, working back in gaming, that, there's certain games that are developed, for children or for, teenage boys, or then you have the over 35, the established, the ones who are playing your game.
So what is the why would the over 35 specifically?
It's more sophisticated.
The thing is that if we speak about the regular gaming, for example, the native mobile applications like Candy Crush Saga, then those types of match-free games are actually aimed at women 35, 45, because they are easy to play. Women are very multifunctional. They can watch TV, do the ironing, and play the game simultaneously. Yeah,
their neurons, when they did the CAT scan, men is just so one dimension, and women they trigger all over.
So this types of game appeal to women. Plus, if there's a story, so a character they can relate to, it is also more appealing to women. But we created our game basically to be appealing for everyone. And when we were doing that, we weren't doing for the exact same moment. We've created for the future when the adoption will be bigger. And
was it intentional or accidental that you found out that your target market was actually women over 35?
No, our target market right now isn't women over 35. It's men, mostly male, 25, 40, and the core audience is 27, 33. But this type of art usually appears more more to women because like I also worked at Odnoklassniki. It's Russia's largest entertainment social network, and we have a gaming platform there, 35 million users. And I've learned a lot of the statistics of the game, which audience plays it, how they do, what are the behavioral patterns, and so on. And then I understand that like what we create is very like appealing to Asian people and like to women especially. And we've created this art style to be in the first place appealing to people from Korea, China, Japan. We've asked did reviews and asked them, do you find this cute or not cute? And they've said that yeah it's okay, we like it like here, and please make the game like that. But we didn't know from the very beginning because like we started in January, we didn't have a game, we had only assumptions, and you can like the market was totally new. You can have the real knowledge when you get the data, and we got the data only in like May.
So Michelle, what do you think? I mean, like women over 30, like the population here in Asia looking at a game, we're looking also at similar type of character design from the aesthetic perspective, where you've got like Pokemon, you've got other ones that are like designed in this sort of gamified factor.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the different types of games that are like traditional games, where you've got, your MMOs, where you've got, your very male type of games, first person shooter, type of games, and you look at, like your Blockchain Cuties, and I haven't had the chance to go through and play it, but it seems like, because you are in that trading element, and so there's more of a social and community element, which would then lend itself to, the female population. But the fact that, you said there was only 2% of your players are women, that means it's really catching on with men. And is it because it's that like almost like currency trading value?
Exactly. It is like grown up not from the gaming industry, but from the financial industry, which is mainly dominated by males. Plus, the blockchain space isn't like really fun. It is pretty difficult even to explain to someone what blockchain is and how it works. And women don't like that at the moment. Like males do, they try to like learn new stuff. So because the whole blockchain space right now is mostly like males, and we derive from that, then the woman audience is not very big. But we try to attract everyone, and the ones that play our game, they're like super loyal. We even had like, this was a phenomenon that we didn't like knew would be coming. So a lot of the women started to draw fan art in our game. Like basically we had
men and women, because I'm seeing your characters and they are really cute, but then the theme behind it, I wouldn't be something that I would associate it to being something very feminine.
Yeah,
because you've got like werewolf, right? You've got
right now you're watching at the unique characters that people are selling, and they're buying featuring slots so everybody could see them. Majority of the characters are just cute, but they're like super unique ones, like those aliens. They are like very masculine, but majority are. But
what I
cute.
mean is that they are drawn in such a way that it's just very, very cute, and I can see why a larger sort of assumption that would be women that would come in over for sort of be attracted for the aesthetic part of it. But I'm looking at the characters themselves, which are quite more on the masculine side.
Yeah, but like those are free characters, and we have like thousands of them. People just like paid for them to be there, like on the upper.
So people are actually designing this and like paying you guys so that they will be able to be featured on your platform.
Yeah, we have this option when you like try to sell a cutie. There are two sections. One is the featuring section where you have the bigger icons, and then like the one that is sorted by date, by time. So if you want to like receive more visibility for your cat or for your doggy, you just pay a little bit. It is very, very cheap, but some people like to put them there, some people don't, because we have very complex filtering system. People who usually do the trading, they just manually filter everything.
So I really like this space because I brought two speakers a while back. We were talking about the whole space of fungible and non-fungible tokens, right? And you are clearly in this space where the game on the gamification factor, because everybody's so used to sort of trading crypto in the sense of Ethereum, right? But then now we're talking about the non-fungible ones that is essentially this entire sort of space. What could you tell us a little bit about the differences and what are the challenges in terms of putting something that is fungible and non-fungible?
Yeah, sure, because we have both fungible and non-fungible tokens in our game. Well, non-fungible is like, in simple words to explain it, if you have like free $100 like nominals, and basically when they are fungible, each nominal equals another one. And if they're unfungible, then just imagine that one has a beard attached to it, other have like glasses attached to it, and like they have one nominal, but they're different, completely unique. So this is like how to
And you
explain
can
it.
slice it.
Yeah, you
have
can
to-
slice it.
Yeah, you have to get it entirely on its own.
Yeah. So the real difference is that like non-fungible tokens are suited for totally unique things, like people, like IDs, like your like medical data, like your teeth, and you don't pay with them. Basically, they are the sole heroes of the place. Each is unique, and fungible is basically currency. You can like collect hundreds of them, and another 100 will be the same. So the difficulties, there are not so many difficulties at the moment, because it just what the gaming companies used to do, like with your characters, like in games like World of Warcraft, Diablo, they were just like weren't calling them the non-fungible tokens, but they were unique and attached to your like account. Like your email, basically the unique email is a sort of unfungible token as well.
Yeah, of
And
course.
everything was attached to it. Like right now, because there is like a rights of ownership, we need this token which proves the ownership basically. And you just like create game around that. And I believe that non-fungible tokens will evolve into something new.
Yeah.
Like it won't be called tokens in the near future, and will be used basically
Like assets, like
Yeah.
yeah, like for
physical
example,
ownership.
we might have some chips of non-fungible tokens that would know our medical data, our degree, our salaries. When we enter some kind of a smart house, it will know that it is us. He can check our music preferences, turn it on. We will be moving into that space in the future, I
Yeah.
believe, but the games are easiest to understand and to
And
have
then
the use
first
case.
one to be applied into the system.
Exactly, the pioneering place.
Interesting.
So I wanted to ask, I was looking at, so you've just moved from the Ethereum platform. You moved from Ethereum.
We didn't move.
Okay.
We have an Ethereum platform.
Okay.
We have an EOS platform. The
Got
third
it.
game.
Yeah, okay, I've seen that. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about that, because I'm looking at it, just right now and
Okay,
wanting to.
so the market was created on Ethereum platform. The
Mhm.
non-fungible thing was only available and with the smart contracts as well only on Ethereum. And other blockchains decided, hey, it's a great thing. We need to make something similar. And actually, several blockchains did that already, but EOS and Tron were among the first. Neo is doing that right now.
Yeah.
And the thing is that EOS itself had a completely different philosophy than Ethereum, and it was more suitable for the games. For example, in Ethereum, one of the like stopping factors is that you need to confirm every transaction.
Yeah.
And if you want to have like a seamless gameplay where nothing disrupts you, like
Takes
no
time.
windows pop-ups, like do you
Yeah.
want to confirm that? You need to delegate like the right to take away money to the smart contract. And EOS has that.
Yeah.
For example, when you start playing, you can say, hey, I allow you to take my money and you to take my money, and then the gameplay is seamless. You just play the game and it's on blockchain. We like that a lot, and plus we saw that EOS Nights is a Korean game, was getting very popular. There was a lot of audience, and right now the biggest problem in the crypto gaming space is user acquisition. There is only 76,000 people in the whole world right now who have not
EOS, yeah.
people, but like unique wallet addresses who have non-fungible tokens from games. This is like very, very small market if we compare it to like hundreds of millions in normal gaming.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
very small. And but those are paying users, and they don't have the limits of how much they can pay. For example, like in Apple App Store, they usually allow you to have the highest transaction of $99. Here, if you can sell something for $14,000, there's a man in the field who would be able to buy it. You just need to properly sell it to him. And that's why it is like very, very lucrative, and people are trying to get here to like make business in this space. But it is very small. And there are two like tasks before the crypto games. First, they need to like make their audience bigger, but they also need to have the whole blockchain space get bigger to attract additional users, because like it's a funnel, and the first step is to make people come into blockchain world, into cryptocurrencies, own cryptocurrencies, and then like start playing the game. The games are like a gateway, and we want to be like a gateway to different blockchains. We want to like not only be connected with the crypto world, but be known like as a producer of toys, like as people who
As
do
the
like
platform,
cartoons.
right?
And when we have that, when we have like acknowledgement in the real world, in the tech world, we can go to different blockchains and explain them our strategy and build something together. So they bring us the traffic. We create this space where it is interesting to spend time, to play, to like receive emotions. Because in the end, why games are so popular is because like they bring emotions, very strong emotions, and our brain doesn't care whether it's happening in real life or it's just an experience, a VR experience. It's all the same to him. And if the emotions are strong, they tie you to the game. They make you play it like for years, and this is what we want to do.
The engagement is essentially what you want to capture, and that stickiness, right? Is that people don't buy products. I mean, they wouldn't buy
not just
token.
engagement fades over time. You basically need to have part of your life be in there, some kind of real estate that you've built, like social relationships with friends, money and time you spent into the game, things that are happening inside this world that you care about, even if you forget about it and then somebody suddenly reminds you that, hey, like this clan attacked this clan and we've lost, and you have this emotional feeling which allows you to go back into the game and do what you did before.
So essentially it's like back to that community sort of building and the importance of having
this
a
is very
community.
important as well, but if we speak on a personal level, it's basically a part of your life. Why in China, like in 2011, 2012, like games, especially browser games, were so popular? Because one of the point is that in Chinese games they had leaderboards for everything. You could have like a first place among people who ties the, like, I don't know, something very fast, or like you're the best fisherman, not the best king or the best like monster killer.
Would you say that competitive nature?
Yes, competitive.
Would it differ in terms of culture? Because if you were to go to like the Scandinavian country, for example, or any other sort of countries where it's sort of less of a perceived as a
it is very different in different countries. Like there is a good example of that. For example, in European countries, in American countries, fairness of play was like the dominant feature. If something was very unfair, people called it's like pay to win. They didn't like that. And Chinese super hardcore games, like the strategy ones, type of Ebony Online in 2006, they weren't popular in the States. But then maybe you've heard of Machine Zone and Fire Age, the game. What they did is that they've took the Chinese game, essentially made it a little bit softcore and introduced it to American market, and did a massive marketing campaign. And they've taught Americans how to be more competitive in this place. And only that, when they were already taught, another developer brought 100% Chinese super hardcore game, which is a lot more hardcore than Fire Age.
And they just jump on that.
Yeah, and they've jumped on it because they already know how to do that. And it has the lifetime value of a user a lot higher than the ones in Games of War. I don't remember the correct name, Clash of Titans or something like that.
Clash of Clans.
No, Clash of Clans is a Finnish game from Supercell. It is mid-core.
Well, but Tencent now owns Supercell, so
yeah. Well,
actually, I would have thought Americans were super competitive because they were like, you know.
But they have the fairness.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And,
because
you would know this.
But Chinese games, there's been somewhat of a culturally, there's been a suppression of certain things. So in gaming, it's you get the chance to be that maverick.
And you're like one in a trillion, right? So that is why like you really have to work hard.
And you understand that the world isn't fair. That there are like richer people, poorer people, and you just have to be better at something, and if you're like best at something very small, you're still the best here, and people respect that. And this is like something that like in America in 2012 people didn't understand. They want to be like more democratic. Yeah. And the cultural differences is actually very, very important. Like Germans are very competitive. They like to play strategy games, especially.
What about Latvians?
Latvians are more like Russians in this place, and they're similar to Chinese. They are okay if the game isn't fair. They like the competition, but they differ from like Spanish. They differ from Norwegians a lot in this term.
I could go on for a whole day understanding this. Like, I'm not a gaming person, but I love the concept of gaming being applied on blockchain and how competition comes in. I'm a very competitive person by nature, so.
This is a really, I think this is really interesting because, you know, you're seeing this technology evolve and you're seeing, you know, you're putting the application of gaming because it has such like distinct features of, you know, where it hits your brain, how it releases you know, how you release dopamine.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's got, I mean, this is a perfect environment for blockchain technology, and the fact that it's, you know, you're using it in this space, you're one of the I would say first movers. Yeah, and you know, I'm really excited to see what's going to be coming out of it, because I can imagine from here on out, it's going to get even more competitive. There's going to be a lot more people entering the market, and
exactly.
Yeah, and you're a first mover.
Yeah, we're very very glad that we've jumped into the train while it was like on the station. Now it's moving. There is a chance to jump in the like last wagon while it's still cheap to develop such games, but like later the space will become super overcrowded. Like right now, why a lot of people of smaller gaming studios tried out the blockchain space? First of all, because the market is super blue. There are not so many players, and if you like do the games for like Apple and Google platforms, there are like millions of developers. There are millions of games released like every year, and it is very hard to get noticed.
And you need authorization after you clear all of that. And
that is okay, because the market is mature, you know the business models, how it works, but there are so many things that you need to do, including business development, and you need to have a lot of marketing budget to be able to like get the audience. A lot of people
like
don't
back
have
then, 10 years ago, where you just like, if as long as you know a little bit of coding on like how to develop an app, you could have built something that would have made money. But now, actually,
like basically right now in blockchain gaming space is everything like it was like 7 years ago on the 8 years ago on the native mobile space. We don't have this restriction. We don't have a lot of infrastructural elements that help the user audience like to grow, to attract new users. It's Wild West here, and you need to like try out everything to see whether it works, because a lot of the logical assumptions need to be tested. Some of them work, majority of them don't. You need to try it out, and this is what we are doing basically. Because when like I've been to the gaming space for a long time. I've seen how casual game market developed, how like in 2008 the social gaming market appeared in China, like this Happy Farm, then Facebook games, then in 2010, 11 when the native mobile applications appeared. And the thing is that each market is going on the same route in spiral. And if you know how the spiral go, you can anticipate the next move basically and try to be prepared for that. Some people who have experience, they know how this moves and they have like an upper hand. Some don't, but like they receive a lot of money, so they can hire people who know and like CryptoKitties and do the right move as well. So yeah, and even because like the space is very competitive, we still need to like give respect to CryptoKitties because they've created the market. We are like making money here because of them. If they didn't try it out this experiment, then we would be like still doing ICOs or something like that.
I'm really glad that we're talking about this topic, because it was something that was brought up, and at that point in time, I think a few of us weren't really that clear about how it was, because none of us were gamers. To be able to have somebody on the show and really talk about who is actually building something in this space, it's really insightful. So time-wise, we do have a very limited
I have another like thing to tell you. Just like if we're speaking about data-driven development, like the analytical stuff, during the last 10 years, like the gaming industry is super high about conversion. It's even like better than telecommunication companies, than banking companies, because there are so many data. The top game have like tens of millions of players, and you can aggregate all of that. And they they are like more prepared for the mass adoption because they know how to do it the scientific way.
Yeah.
They don't
Mm-hmm.
like just try. They know, they have giant experience, and that's why I believe that gaming, if those specialists will be like attracted to this space, will be a huge point of growth
Oh,
for
yeah.
the whole blockchain
Right.
space, because they know how to do it. They have scientific approaches and like millions
And
of
they'll be
data.
more targeted and
Yeah.
they'll maximize every single move. No, it's been fantastic, and I think we could go on and on and
We
on
could.
this. Unfortunately, that we do have a time constraint, and we would love to bring you back again onto the show when you're back on your next trip from Latvia to Singapore. Are you going
Okay.
back to Latvia straight from here?
Straight from here to St. Petersburg, and then after 3 days back to Latvia.
Ah.
Fantastic.
I love it here. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I would be delighted to come next time, and maybe we can talk about like some other aspects of either blockchain or gaming, because what you do, guys, is very, very important. Because you educate, you do it in a very nice manner. It's very simple to understand, and it is fun to basically watch and get this kind of information. And right now, blockchain is new. Still, 50 million users all over the world is nothing. It's
Yeah.
like less than some like small
Some
social
cities,
networks in
yeah.
Yes,
Do
some
you
maybe
think we-
villages in China.
Do
even.
you
I
think
don't-
we'll have listeners from Latvia or
Uh,
from like
we w-
St. Petersburg? Or,
We
you
will
know?
do that. Like you will share the Facebook link. Like we are very strong on Medium. It's like a blogging platform. We
Yeah.
write about gaming every day, so we have a lot of like not a lot, but like some traffic that are into crypto there. So, and we're usually in the first 3 positions in gaming section. So you
Wow.
will be there.
High five, Michelle.
I know.
And we will try to like do our best to attract as many users. It won't be like very a lot, but we will try our best.
This is
Yeah.
fantastic. We are actually looking for more guests to come onto the show, especially Blockchain Asia. And I think we always try to curate for different type of guests from different backgrounds, different nationalities, and different jurisdiction. And I think you are somebody who we've brought that was completely different from before.
Yeah. Really exciting. Thank you so much for coming into our studio. Thank you for being here this afternoon. This has
Yeah.
been the Blockchain Asia show here on our afternoon recording. I'm Michelle Wonderland here with.
Gustavo Liu.
And Vladimir Tomko. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
guys.
Vladimir.
Thank you.
Bye.